Hi friends, I'm Alisa, and today we are going to learn about the sentence structure, specifically about three main categories: simple, compound, and complex sentences. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to differentiate between simple, compound, and complex sentences, and will be able to create your own examples of each type. So, let's begin. But before we learn about the categories of sentences, let's clarify what a sentence is. A sentence is a fundamental unit of written or spoken language that conveys a complete thought or idea. It is a group of words organized in a specific structure that typically consists of a subject and a predicate. For example, she is a talented singer, or the big black car raced down the highway. So let's clarify what the subject is. The subject usually consists of a noun. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. It is what the sentence is about. The subject can also include pronouns that replace nouns. So let's take a look at our first example. She's a talented singer. What is going to be a subject in this sentence? What is this sentence about? Or whom is this sentence about? Yes, you're right, it's she. She is the subject. It's a pronoun. The second sentence. The big black car raced down the highway. What is the subject in this sentence? Yes, you're right. The big black car. What? The big black car. So the car is the subject. It's a noun. And what is the predicate? The predicate is the part of the sentence that provides information about the subject. It typically includes a verb, an action or state of being. So a verb is an action or state of being, and may include other elements like objects, adverbs, or adjectives. So let's take a look at our first sentence. She's a talented singer. She is the subject. And what is the predicate? Is a talented singer. It includes the verb is and the object a talented singer. And in our second sentence, the big black car raced down the highway. What is the object? Let's find the verb first. What did the car do? Yes, you're right. Raced down. So raced down is a phrasal verb. Raced is the verb. Raced down is the phrasal verb. Raced down the highway. The highway is the object. Raced down the highway, the whole thing is the predicate. It is also important to know that a sentence must express a complete thought, idea, or statement. It should convey a clear message to the reader or listener. Incomplete phrases or fragments are not considered sentences. For example, she's a talented singer. It's a complete sentence. Why? Because it conveys a clear message. She's a talented singer. You can understand it very well, right? However, a talented singer. Is it a complete sentence? Does it convey a complete thought or idea? No, it doesn't. That's why it's an incomplete phrase or a fragment. So a talented singer is not a sentence. So why should we learn about simple, compound, and complex sentences? Learning about simple, compound, and complex sentences is important for several reasons. The first is improved communication. By using a variety of sentence structures, we can convey ideas more clearly, making it easier for others to understand us. Enhanced writing skills. Learning how to construct different types of sentences can significantly improve our writing skills. Reading comprehension. When we can identify simple, compound, and complex sentences, we can grasp the author's intended meaning and the relationships between different ideas in the text. Effective communication and grammar mastery. So, there are three types of sentences based on their structure: simple, compound, and complex. A simple sentence is a type of sentence that consists of just one independent clause and expresses a complete thought. It is the most basic and fundamental sentence structure in English. You may ask me, what is an independent clause? An independent clause is a grammar term used to describe a group of words within a sentence that can stand alone as a complete sentence. Simple sentences are typically composed of two essential components, the subject and the predicate. For example, she sings. She is the subject, it's a pronoun, and sings is a predicate, it's a verb. So she sings is a simple sentence. Or the sun shines. The sun is the subject, it's a noun, and shines is a predicate, it's a verb. The sun shines is a simple sentence. However, not all simple sentences are short. Long simple sentences are sentences that consist of a single independent clause but are extended with additional descriptive words and phrases, making them longer and more complex while still being grammatically simple. The sun, with its golden rays stretching across the horizon, slowly sank down below the waterline. In this sentence, let's find the subject. What? The sun. The sun is the subject. What did the sun do? Yes, you're right. Slowly sank below the waterline. So it's a predicate. In here we see the verb sank, right? All other words extend this predicate, right? And we get slowly sank below the waterline. And with its golden rays stretching across the horizon is just a descriptive phrase which describes a noun, the sun. What kind of sun? With its golden rays stretching across the horizon is just a descriptive phrase. The next example. During the summer vacation, which lasts for 3 blissful months, my family and I traveled to the picturesque seaside village. So, let's see if you're able to find a subject in this sentence. Who or what? Yes, you're right. My family and I. And what is the predicate? What do we do? Of course, travel to the picturesque seaside village. Travel is the verb. Travel where? To the picturesque seaside village is the predicate. So my family and I is the subject. Travel to the picturesque seaside village is the predicate. And we travel when? During the summer vacation. What kind of vacation? Which lasts for 3 blissful months. So those are just the additional descriptive phrases. But our main focus is my family and I, which is the subject. Travel to the picturesque seaside village, which is the predicate. So here you go. Those are the simple sentences. Even though they are long, they're still grammatically simple. Let's keep going. A compound sentence is a type of sentence that consists of 2 or more independent clauses. 2 or more independent clauses. Remember that independent clause is a complete thought. Joined together by coordinating conjunctions, semicolons, or transitional words. So let's go step by step with the examples so you can understand better. The purpose of a compound sentence is to connect related ideas. But you should remember that those 2 ideas are independent. Let's take a look at this example. Let's begin with using a coordinating conjunction. So we know that a compound sentence may consist of 2 or more independent clauses, right? And they can be connected using a coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or, nor, for, yet, or so. Here's the example. She loves to read, but he prefers to watch movies. She loves to read, and he prefers to watch movies. Can these sentences exist independently? Yes, they can. But they are connected into one sentence. Those two independent clauses are connected into one sentence. She loves to read, but he prefers to watch movies. So how it works? She is the subject, loves to read is the predicate. So he is the subject, prefers to watch movies is the predicate. So she loves to read is the first independent clause, right? And he prefers to watch movies is the second independent clause. And those two independent clauses are connected by but, which is a coordinating conjunction. So here you go, this is the structure of a compound sentence using a coordinating conjunction. We can also use a semicolon when we write a compound sentence. For example, the sun was setting, the sky turned a brilliant shade of orange. The sun is the subject. Was setting is the predicate. The sky, what? The sky is the subject. What did the sky do? Turned a brilliant shade of orange. It's a predicate. So the sun was setting is the first independent clause, and the sky turned a brilliant shade of orange. It's a second independent clause. So if we want, we can use these independent clauses as independent sentences, right? Those are two ideas that can exist independently if we want to. And we combine them in writing using a semicolon. And let's see how we can build a compound sentence using a transitional word. The examples of some of the transitional words are however, on the other hand, nevertheless. For example, I enjoy hiking, however, I'm not a fan of camping. Let's find the subjects and the predicates in this sentence. I is the subject. Enjoy hiking is the predicate. Again, I is the subject. Am not a fan of camping is the predicate. I enjoy hiking is the first independent clause, and I'm not a fan of camping is the second independent clause. So those two ideas can exist independently from each other. And they're combined by a transitional word, however. Here you go. This is how we build compound sentences. And finally, let's talk about a complex sentence. A complex sentence is a sentence that contains one independent clause, which is a complete thought, and at least one dependent clause, which is an incomplete thought. So a dependent clause is an incomplete thought. Dependent clauses cannot stand alone as sentences because they rely on the independent clause for their meaning. At least one dependent clause means that you may have two or more dependent clauses in one complex sentence. Complex sentences are used to show relationships between ideas, such as cause and effect, contrast, or time sequence. Let's begin with a cause and effect. For example, since it was raining, we decided to stay indoors. Okay, let's first find the independent clause, the one that can exist by itself. It doesn't need any other additional explanation if we don't want to add that. Yes, you're right. We decided to stay indoors. It can exist independently. We is the subject and decided to stay indoors is the predicate. And why did we decide to stay indoors? Since it was raining. It is the subject. Was raining is the predicate. Again, we is the subject. Decided to stay indoors is the predicate. So we decided to stay indoors is an independent clause. It doesn't need anything else to be added if we don't want so. However, since it was raining, it's a dependent clause. Why did we decide to stay indoors? Since it was raining, right? If we just say since it was raining, does it make sense? Does it give us any complete idea or any complete information? No. So this clause is a dependent one. It cannot exist by itself. So this is the first example of a complex sentence. The next one is contrast. Although he was tired, he couldn't sleep. Just pause for a second and try to find the subjects and the predicates in this sentence. Yes, he is the subject, was tired is the predicate. He is the subject, couldn't sleep is the predicate. But let's think, what is an independent clause in this sentence? Of course, he couldn't sleep. It's a fact. It can exist by itself, right? It's an independent clause. Although he was tired is a dependent clause. The dependent clause, although he was tired, presents a contrast to the main action. As I just explained, complex sentence must have one independent clause, but it may have also one or more dependent clauses. So in this example, you should find one independent clause and two dependent clauses. Since it was raining, I decided to stay indoors where I could read a good book and enjoy a hot cup of tea. So pause this video and try to find the independent clause and two dependent clauses. Okay, so I is the subject, decided to stay indoors is the predicate, right? I, again, is the subject, could read a good book and enjoy a hot cup of tea, it's a predicate. So read, enjoy, two verbs together combined in one predicate. It is the subject, was raining is the predicate. So what do you think? What is an independent clause in this sentence? Of course, I decided to stay indoors is an independent clause. The other clause, since it was raining, why did I decide to stay indoors? Since it was raining, it's a dependent clause and it shows cause and effect. Where I could read a good book and enjoy a hot cup of tea, it's a dependent clause that shows a time sequence. This sentence explains why the speaker decided to stay indoors due to rain and why they intended to go inside, read a book and drink some tea. Okay, let's summarize everything that we have just learned. So there are three types of sentences: simple, compound, and complex. Simple sentences must have only one independent clause, no dependent clause. Compound sentences must have two or more independent clauses and no dependent clauses. And complex sentences must have one independent clause and at least one dependent clause, but they may have two or more dependent clauses as well. And now it's time for you to practice. Read each sentence carefully and determine whether it is a simple, compound, or complex sentence. Write your answers in the comments below. So go through these sentences, read them attentively, and identify which one is a simple sentence, which one is a compound, and which one is a complex sentence. And I'll be waiting for your answers in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If yes, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and comment below. And I'll see you in my next videos. See you soon. Take care.